All right, all right. We're in Belmar today, and we have a special guest with us. We have Rich Bruno. Rich Bruno has a couple job titles. He's retired J&J guy from North Jersey, where J&J's main facilities are. He owns and operates a Max Fitness, and he also owns and runs Rich Bruno Consulting. So welcome, Rich. Good morning.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here, Tom.
I'm glad to have you in. You and I met pre-COVID, and we haven't really seen each other in person, but we connected through LinkedIn and Facebook and things like that.
Yeah.
So you've had a grit story,
Yes.
probably your whole life, it sounds like, but more so from the days of COVID, early COVID, and your gym and your Max Fitness gyms, to today. But I know that you also have some pretty cool stuff going on with Rich Bruno Consulting, which I want to dig into today.
Yes.
So kind of hit us with what happened. COVID happens and the gym world. So
we could certainly start there, and the grit is really about you got to be able to persevere over any adversity that you have, and so I definitely feel like we've demonstrated that as a group at Max Challenge. When COVID hit, so I had just retired. So we'll come back to that. But I had just retired.
You don't look old enough to be retired.
Well, yeah, I'm going to be 60 in 30 days.
Wow.
So,
nice.
I'm looking forward to
that. You look great.
Thank you very much.
But for 59 and 11 months.
There you go. So when COVID hit, it was, look, no playbook, right? You have no plan for how to handle something that severe.
No.
Right? So as a small business owner in the health and fitness space, for Max Challenge, it was shut down. Like New Jersey government mandated, you will not operate in center because of the pandemic. Totally understandable. In fact, Max Challenge voluntarily 2 days before that mandate, we decided we were going to shut down. So when COVID hit, it was all about, okay, we have a customer base, our members who come to a place for well-being, physical and mental well-being, and more than mental, and even more so now when the pandemic hit. So we had to pivot, and we did that exceptionally well. We literally started doing virtual classes on day one. I remember being in my living room with, a laptop in front of me doing, first it was Facebook Live classes, and then we immediately converted to Zoom classes. And so we developed another way to deliver our product and service right through Zoom. So for many businesses, they had to pivot, restaurants, curbside, whatever it was. For us, it was the virtual experience. And we kept that virtual experience for years after COVID started. Very slowly got back into the center, but I'm telling you, we did anything and everything to keep our members engaged. We had park workouts. We had workouts in the parking lot of the centers that we operated.
That's pretty cool.
We literally used the parking spaces as the 6-foot separating points.
Cool.
And
very creative.
We did a virtual class simultaneously. So we were able to deliver a product and service to our members. Not ideal, not the same as being in a center because it's just such a great, positive environment. But we were able to alter how we delivered the program to our members. And we did that for 6 months when it was closed. And then the next 9 months, which sounds completely out of whack, but this is the way it was in New Jersey, it was mandated 25% of capacity in the center, and you had to wear a mask. So think of cardio boot camp type classes with a mask on, running around inside, being a minimum of 6 foot separate. It was very difficult for the members. It was very difficult for our staff because we had to wear the mask. We were doing the virtual with a microphone on, running around all over the place. It was not something we ever could have planned for, right? We did that for 9 months, and I'm happy to say that we survived it. Some of my peers did not, and a lot of businesses weren't able to sustain that. But we are now thriving once again. But it's because we engaged our members from Jump Street. We had an amazing staff that worked with us through an unemployment period, then bringing them back slowly. It was a lot of thoughtfulness that went into this execution, and I'm happy to say that we did it really, really well.
Where is your Max Challenge?
The Max Challenge that we currently have is in Old Bridge on Route 516. We've been there for 11 years.
Wow, that's Great.
Yeah, and
You must have been one of the originals.
I
right?
am, probably the fourth or fifth franchise
Wow.
location.
How many franchises are in the system now?
I think they're probably close to 50 now. When I started, the central New Jersey area is pretty saturated with Max Challenge locations. There are others in the area. I also, at one point, owned the Manalapan location for 5 years.
Okay.
I opened up and ran the Freehold location for about 3 years. So you talk about grit, I had 3 Max Challenge locations, a very full-time career
Corporate.
at Johnson and Johnson as a supply chain leader, and my wife and I were raising 3 kids under
Oh,
8. Twins, 8-year-old and a 5-year-old when we started Max. So that was just an incredible grind that I'm very proud of. But it all boiled down to something that we were just passionate about. The Max Challenge is an amazing program that helps people to live happier and healthier lives. And I started it as a result of being a member.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
I was a member first before it was even franchised, and I saw the benefit it gave me mentally and physically, and I'm like, you know what? So many people need this.
Yep.
So many people need this, and I wanted to be a part of that journey and their journey, their health journey. So it was really born out of passion. I never opened up and ran a business before. I learned how to do it on the go, but it has been extremely rewarding, really.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So now, when did you get into Rich Bruno Consulting?
Yeah, so that was in 2019. I got certified as a John Maxwell coach, speaker, and trainer. And then I started my own coaching practice probably in October, November of 2019. So 4.5, close to 5 years, very diverse offerings as a coach and consultant. I work with executives and coach them and their teams. I do leadership trainings, workshops on time management and prioritization. I do work with other teams, keynotes on work-life balance. I work with small businesses as well. So a real smattering of different types of coaching, but I'm bringing in a lot of different skill sets, right? So I have the corporate career, been doing that, was doing that for 30 years, always focused on talent management and development, a lot of operations-based roles that I've been able to glean a lot of experience from. 10 years plus as a small business owner, right? And there are so many things that are important about learning how to start up and grow a business successfully, as you well know, Tom. And then the consulting has been 5 years. And I got to tell you, like, the common thread for me is I really want to have an impact on other people's lives. I do. I did that in my career. I do that in my family, in my personal life. I did that and do that through the Max Challenge. And now I'm doing it through consulting. So I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. And, I'm very grateful that I retired at 55 to get into this kind of next chapter, next phase.
I think the next chapter is a great opportunity for you now. You've done the corporate, you have your own, and now you can educate and teach and train people on how to do what they want to do and help them achieve their goals.
Absolutely, and that's where I'm at. I mean, it is incredibly fulfilling. It really is, to be able to just help other people and see them grow in various ways. It's really amazing. So I love it.
And what's the next? What do you want to do next in this journey? Like, where do you see the consulting going? What do you like? Who's that target market for you? Who do you find that is best suited for your wheelhouse of consulting?
Yeah, great question. I appreciate you asking that. So I am really pivoting and have been in the last 9 to 12 months into the executive coaching space more so. The reason for that, I've done like a variety of different types of coaching and consulting, but what I love about the executive client is that there are broad, meaty projects to get into, right? So you could deal with the executive on a one-on-one basis where you're helping them to be more effective leaders and lead more effective teams, maybe even balance their lifestyles. I do a lot of work around the well-balanced leader, which we could talk about as well. But it's helping the individual.
They don't have a balanced lifestyle.
Yeah, they don't have.
They're wired differently. I say that every time that it comes up. Entrepreneurs are wired differently.
They are. And in the corporate space, though, there's such a demand over delivering results and putting a lot of effort and time into it. So the well-balanced leader is a concept we can come back to, but my ideal client is definitely the executive client, because I feel like I can impact not only them, but their teams and organizations.
Sure.
Using a lot of my prior experiences as a 30-year supply chain leader, and then coaching and consulting some of those same people.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And is most of your consulting local, or is it, is it?
It varies. I've done most of it locally. It's either remote or to the client.
Mm-hmm.
Not things that are terribly, remote in terms of traveling, but definitely open to doing that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And the Maxwell certifications.
Yeah.
So I took a years ago, we took a Maxwell class at our office. Somebody was Maxwell certified, and we did a couple of sessions. This was right before COVID, and then
Right.
COVID happened, and we never did it again. But so how does that work in the Rich Bruno Consulting?
Yep. So I got certified actually out of taking a DISC assessment. So it's a behavioral assessment.
Mm-hmm.
I did that when I retired to learn more about, hey, what could be next for me besides the Max Challenge. So retired from J&J, my primary focus was, lock into building the business more effectively and efficiently. And I was able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a desire to do something else. I wanted to help others outside of the health and wellness space. I decided to get certified as a John Maxwell coach, speaker, and trainer, because the DISC assessment said, hey, Rich, you should be doing coaching. It literally was
So
screaming.
the DISC told you?
Yeah, DISC told me. And it wasn't a big surprise, but I went on this journey. Maxwell certification for me was, I subscribed to the leadership principles. It was a way for me to get a broader base of knowledge and deploy that and those tools to others. But I will say very honestly, I don't use the John Maxwell certification as a door opener for me, to say I'm a John Maxwell certified coach, speaker, and trainer. I am, and I subscribe to the leadership principles, but I integrate that into more customized work. Like I'll do customized leadership trainings that will bring in law of self-awareness, law of priorities, and other things that John Maxwell teaches, but I don't do the kind of structured, canned, lunch and learns on a John Maxwell book.
Got it.
I just draw from his teachings and I apply that to the clients as necessary.
Awesome. That makes perfect sense. And some of those books are great reads.
Mm-hmm.
A real thought leader in this space.
He absolutely, he is an icon of leadership without a doubt. Yeah.
Cool. So and there's a whole network of those.
Oh my gosh.
There's thousands, right?
Tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands.
So when I got certified in 2019, I think there were 30,000 coaches globally.
Okay.
I'll bet there are 50,000 now.
Wow.
Like seriously, they're everywhere. And so again, no disrespect at all, but I don't use that as a lead-in because I feel like I'm bringing diverse experiences into what I can offer a client.
Mm-hmm.
Between corporate, it's like three legs of a stool. The corporate experience, the small business ownership, and now 5 years of coaching. There's a lot of value that I've received from it.
You've seen it from different angles too.
Yes.
Which I think that's really where the value is, especially for anyone that's looking to retain you, because again, you had that the big business corporate co experience, then you had running a day-to-day gym, and then you add consulting and the.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful journey. I am so grateful for all the experiences I've had, and they've served me in a lot of different ways.
Yep. It's nice that you were able to get out of J&J at 55.
I'm going to tell you why. Okay. So I loved my career. I loved the people that I worked with. Had a thriving career. Had no reason to leave. Really, I didn't. But when I was at J&J for that last 7 years, I was also standing up the Max Challenge. And you want to talk about a grind. My day was 3:30 wake up, teach a 5 a.m. class.
You taught them too?
Yes. So
man.
I'm a very big believer in owner-operator at its core.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe that you get the most and can give the most when you are able to do everything required. Like you got to be all in. It's not like a hobby. They tell you that. When you start a business, it's not a hobby. It is a business. But I went leading in with a passion for the program and wanting to help people. I felt like I needed to be really invested and involved in that to do it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just my style. So got up, taught a class, took a class, drove to J&J for my day gig, came home, helped to raise 3 small children, worked on the business at night, worked on the business on weekends. I did that for 7 years, 5
Wow.
days a week.
That's a hustle.
So yeah, that leads me to the retirement. So I just started to realize that it was a grind, man. It was a real grind. And I wanted to pump the brakes. I needed to slow life down. I was like a hamster on a wheel, right? So for me, it was like stepping back and saying, let me make sure that this is feasible. I asked the right questions. Financially, could I do this? Right? I'll focus on running a small business. It didn't replace my J&J earnings and all that, but I was willing to give that up to trade off quality of life. That's the bottom line. Like I was thankfully aware of that and was able to stop and say, you know what? What's more important to me? I want my family and my personal needs met now. I don't want to wait till 62, 65, whatever that number is. I felt like I needed to make a change, and I had the courage
I think
to go
that's
ahead
a
and
great
make that
change that like to take that risk on. But again, knowing that you had things in order, and that's just great because you could change your life now than to be 65 and start doing some of these things.
Yeah, I'm a huge proponent of appreciating time. Right, time is finite. You don't know how much you're going to get. Right, I wasn't gonna bet on what the livelihood I was going to have going forward. I wanted to live in the moment and appreciate. My twins were 14. My daughter was 11 when I retired. Most people thought I was crazy. Some told me I was crazy. I'm sure many people thought I was nuts. And I will tell you, I had 100% conviction. I knew without a shadow of a doubt I was doing the right thing because it was giving me greater quality of life. And I'm a bet on myself kind of person. I knew I was going to figure it out. I wasn't risking my family and providing. I knew what I was doing. I just felt in my gut that I was doing the right thing. And it's paid off. Like, I am living my best life, no doubt about it.
I love it. Living my best life.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, and it's only going to get better from here.
It is. I mean, because I am appreciating the quality of life I have. I love the fact that I am owning my calendar. And that doesn't mean I'm not going to be active and a hustler and wanting to always do more and contribute and be present. I am going to continue to be a hard worker, but a different pace of hard work. That pace that I described over that 7-year window is
that 7-year window is
inhuman.
Crazy.
It's I look back on it now and I'm like, I don't even know how I did it. I just did it.
You just did it because you had to.
Just did it. Yes, I was driven to do it. I'm grateful that I did it, but I'm more grateful now for the lifestyle that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's awesome. You hit it. Yeah, you had the corporate world, and you went and you saw what you needed to do. You did it, and now you have the freedom to make those decisions. I think the value of that choice is the biggest thing. You can choose what you want to do and what fits your business model best.
Yes. And as it relates to the coaching and consulting, there are lots of benefits to this. First of all, there's a story to tell. So if you're going to an executive, right, and they're really grinding it out and they're thinking about their exit strategy, that next chapter, I can inspire them through my own story, number one. Number two, my new schedule, if you want to call it that, gives me that flexibility to do as much or as little as I want and work with the people that I really would most like to work with. So I just enjoy the freedom, but I'm purposefully using it. I'm very, very intentional with my time. And it doesn't mean that I kick up and do nothing now. It's quite the opposite.
Yep.
But it's at a more intentional and deliberate pace.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we were able to get some time on the calendar today. That you found value in Grit Won't Quit because especially since you have that calendar markings. Yeah. So what do you tell to that business owner or that the executive? Let's talk about the executive or senior manager that's working at a big corporation and has been doing it for 25 years. What do you tell that person who has dreams of being an entrepreneur?
Anything's possible. I do think you have to be fueled by passion. You know this as a really hardworking entrepreneur, that it's something. I think one of the most important things is you can choose to do whatever you want, first and foremost, right? So you want to make a change that you're inspired to make and you're passionate about, go do it. because you may never get the opportunity.
Mhm.
But along with that, I think it's very important to be thoughtful about your approach. So, like I described, it was 55 when I retired, literally 2 weeks after I turned 55. But I had checked the financial box, right? First call was to my financial advisor. Can I do this? He said, yes, you can. I'm like, I'm good. And then I was motivated and inspired to go do what I wanted to do. So, anyone that's thinking about doing this, make sure you check the right boxes. Why are you doing it? Can you do it? Do you have the wherewithal to do it? You know that, right? Like, you need to be so passionate about. If I had to give a business owner one piece of advice, it would be willing to do more than you think it takes. I think that's like spot on. You know that, right?
Yep.
Like, you don't know it all. You're going to learn as you go, and you
There's
need
always
to
gonna be a hiccup too.
absolutely, and you need to be able to overcome whatever the challenges are. So be willing to put anything and everything into that. So if you're going to make a change, great, but just understand why and what you're going into, and I think you'll be fine. Yeah.
Awesome. So I really appreciate you coming on today. This was really great. And I'm inspired. I own multiple businesses, but I still like to. I love to hear another perspective on it because, again, you're absolutely right. You're spot on with. You have to be passionate about it. If you're not passionate about it, there's other ways to make a living easier than to do it on your own. Like, you look at some guys that are good at sales. Like, just become a salesman for a company, and you work, you hit your quotas, and you generate your income, and you don't have to worry about the stresses. And again, I think when you're looking at it as a business, for me, I want to give value back to my clients. I want to over exceed their expectations. And if that's not if that's not the passion you want to do, it's very hard. You'll grind out a living, but I think there's easier ways to go about it.
Yeah, look, I'm just a huge believer in you should love what you do. You should do something else. I mean, I've been blessed. Great career. I love the jobs that I had. I love the people I worked with. All these other things we talked about, thoroughly enjoy them. And that's what life is all about. I mean, you got to make something of it that you could say, hey, you're jumping out of bed excited about something and you're happy with the lifestyle you live. You own creating that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really blessed and fortunate, and I want to pay that forward to other people. I want to help other people live their best lives.
That's awesome. That's a great coach mentality. I mean, and again, that's awesome that you want to see the good in everybody and bring out that passion and drive.
I do. I genuinely do.
So how do people find you?
So you can find me on Linktree. It's Rich Bruno Consulting, and I do executive coaching and business consulting. I also coach individuals, but my primary focus is those two areas. And I'm someone, I think you've picked up on this from our conversation, I really want to make a difference. I want to help people arrive at the solutions they're trying to find.
That's awesome.
And so what I'd offer as a guest on your podcast, Grit Won't Quit, I would offer a free 30-minute Zoom session where we could talk about what challenges you're facing. And I want to offer you actionable steps that you could apply to help you get to where you want to go. Whether you're an executive or whether you're a business owner, I am in a position where, from my experiences, I can definitely make a difference.
That's awesome. I really do appreciate you giving an offer out to the viewers, and I hope that people take you up on it because I think it will be valuable. And again, give them a perspective from someone who's done it and someone who's been there. So thank you again for coming on today. This was a great conversation, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.
I'm really
happy
that we got together.
Definitely.
Thank you for having me.
Have a great day.
You too.